me, okay, today is the day. We're gonna start in 5 minutes. Welcome. The people are coming. It's gonna be a great evening. I'm a little tired. It's been a long day of working. What can I say? It's just amazing, and I'm happy to be here. It's happening, you guys. It's really happening. First one, Mbongui, Dance on Mbongui Square Festivals, Dance on Film, Series 1. Okay, I'm tired. We start in 5 minutes. One, two, zero. You guys hear us okay? Okay, hi everybody. Hi. How are you? Okay, my name is Bib Chanel Bibene, Artistic Director of Mbongui Square Festival.
And I'm assistant to this amazing person as well. And we'll be giving some announcements. So I don't know if first.
Yeah, so I'm just really honored to have you here. Thanks for making time in your busy schedule to come support the work by the artists and especially our first series of Dance on Film. So Dance on Films, we're gonna see today two films. A film titled Mapenzi by Bahia Movement, and the second film will be Open Circle by Danica Sena. So let me tell you a little bit about Dance on Film, where the idea came up from. So the idea of Dance on Film is basically our reflection on how to sustain Mbongui Square Festival. The festival started about 6-7 years ago, and we had never applied for any grant. It's a community festival where we bring together dance, music, spoken word, and visual arts on one unique platforms, and it's very family friendly and also multidisciplinary, multicultural, and with an emphasis on diversity. And now, after 6 years, came just a time where finance is always a problem, so we always have to find different ways on how to pay for the production's costs and venue rental, and now we're heading towards trying to do our best to offer a stipend to the artists. So we apply for different grants. We don't know. Sometimes you get it or not, but in our case, it's our first year applying for a grant, so we are waiting for the pending grants. We just missed one grant. That's not. So, however, in our strategy is about having different community events leading up to the festival, which is gonna be in December, the week of the 15th through the 22nd. So on the 15th through the 20th, we're gonna have a series of workshops and lectures, and the 20th, 21st, and 22nd will be performances. So Dance on Film is a benefit heading to for Mbongui Square Festival. So any money we will raise here, that's all be directed to supporting the production costs of Mbongui Square Festival. So today, before I continue, I give it to Karen. One more time, just to thank you. I always have to say thank you because it's really, for me, it's really precious when someone takes time off of the busy schedule to come support you. It's just incredible, and you have no idea, I cannot thank you enough for that, for being here. So Karen, do you want to say a little bit about, so let me say about Mapenzi. I'm going to read. Okay, go ahead, please.
So I think one of the things that are huge about this whole production in general is the fact that we get to see a lot of these artists and them in the motion of what they do and what they love best. And that's one of the things I think is most beautiful about about dance on film is because you hear about people dancing in the studios and going and performing, but when you get to see it in a more visual aspect, it transforms in a different way. So this does support Mbongui Square Festival, but allows you to see some of the artists that are going to be presenting on that day as well. The dance film that we're talking about is Mbongui, and I'm just going to read a little bit about it. You guys also have these little bulletins as well, but it's just kind of good to get a good, clear view of it. Mbongui is the dancer's love affair with dance, body, and the arts. This documentary shows how one size should not determine one's love for their art. The movement's goal is to inspire a more conscious awareness around positive body acceptance in the art industry, as well as encouraging the youth to follow their dreams regardless of their body size, type, or gender. 100% amazing. So the kid behind screen that actually entitles and has all those things, bringing all of those backgrounds in, it's just a beautiful thing. Do you want me to continue on sharing about that?
Yes, please.
I can't read forever. All right, Behind Me was founded in 2011 by mother and daughter, Team Afia and Nafi Thompson, if I said your guys' names correctly. Okay, good. Afia is a Swahili Arabic word, which means beautiful. Our movement mission is to create a safe, welcoming, and body-positive environment where everyone of all shapes, sizes, and genders are transformed into performing artists. You can follow them on their website, which is listed in the bulletin as well. And then Open Circle.
So Open Circle by a filmmaker Ami Jaffer and of Danica Sena. So after dedicating her life to flamenco and teaching in San Francisco for more than a decade, Danica takes some of her dedicated students to a small city in southern Spain to give them a deeper understanding of flamenco. Internationally acclaimed master flamenco and Spanish dance teacher choreographers, Danica Sena has created, performed, and produced over 200 original works for TV, film, and stage in Spain, Japan, Czech Republic, Mexico, and USA. Ooh, that's heavy stuff right there. So there is it's on your program. There is a website for Danica. Please check out the work by Bahia Movement and Danica. So about the festival as well, we're not going to read everything for you. You can just look at whatever the word Mbongui Square, because some people may have difficulty even pronouncing the word Mbongui. It just means togetherness. Please read more about the word Mbongui, originating from the Congo. I'm from the Republic of Congo. That's why I have this accent. But doing my best to make myself understood. So, however, this whole event would not be possible without the input of many people. So we have a team. In our production team, I am myself the artistic director, and Andrea Spearman at the table over there, who is the production manager, and Karen Safo is here, assistant production manager. We have Luke Ibatao Kalabe, who's the operation coordinator. Unfortunately, he won't be with us here tonight. We have Hilary Snyder over there, who's a marketing publicity coordinator. And we have volunteers. Volunteers here. We have Andrea's mom and sister. It's just amazing. Thank you for coming to HEPA. And we have a precious sister, Tamika Johnson. And finally, we have you. So now, yes.
So one more thing I do want to say, we do have a photographer on hand. So if you do not want your photo taken, raise your hand. Just so, or let the photographer know, just so you don't have it that we're like, trying to dodge and do crazy things. We want to make sure this is a comfortable environment for all.
Yeah, we won't be sending these pictures our But however, these pictures and capturing event is memory. Maybe, you know, if we live a century, we reflect back, oh, this happened, you know. And we have some precious people here too. And also when we report back to, you know, when we apply for grant funders, they always want to ask, they ask us 1 million questions. And among those questions always, show us what you did, so we can show all our beautiful outfit, our beautiful. Unfortunately, the perfume cannot. We can smell the perfume from the picture. If we could, you know how amazing we were dressed today. So yes. So now, please, before we start with the first film, we're gonna, you know, there is a beautiful. We made some yummy stuff for you. I know, take turns and. Go help yourself, and you know, have people out there to help you out with food and drinks and questions, and then we're gonna get started with the film in just a bit. Thank you so much.
Keep dancing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So it was more like a feeling of liberation, of saying, I can do this. I can be okay with who I am.
It's been a struggle for me. All I've heard as a dancer is you're too big. That's all I've heard. You're a great dancer, you're amazing, but it'd be nice if you lose some weight. It's hard to continue to have confidence. I definitely kind of wanted to change that perspective for my daughter and shield her from those types of situations that will make her feel less than. What we should do as artists is to encourage the youth.
She's not one of those moms that's living her dream through my life. Like, she never did that to me. But she does encourage me a lot to go and do this and to do different things and to make it known or make it an acceptance.
And like hold their bodies in that way.
Maybe like a skinny, like, white person with a French bob or whatever. In the US, kind of like the separation of art as not like stage performance or a music video, it's just what it is. These are, for me, as an African, of people of African descent, I feel like there's so much we have, right? I'd rather spend my time enjoying the power and the beauty that we have.
The youth that are coming up that are not a size 2 or a 0 and that want to dance, that are maybe a size 12 and above. And so it was like crickets in the room. Nobody could say anything. And they finally realized that someone better speak up because they're in the room with all of these youngsters like, yes. And
Me and my
Yes.
Just a trip all together, which is a beautiful adventure for all of them. Way to bridge the gap, just thank you. From San Francisco to Spain, I feel like that's something that is very hard, especially not always coming from that culture, to kind of tip your toes into it and not only do that, to bring other people along with you. I think is a beautiful thing. I have a background in ballet folklore, which also has a little stomping stuff as well. And I was just talking to Danica a little bit before this, that, you know, what I love most about flamenco is like stomping so much more aggressively, like taking back that stomping ground, which I think is beautiful for women, especially in the world that we live in today, is taking control of your body. What no one has control of what you should do. Like that type of dance and that type of culture that embodies that is a beautiful thing. So to be able to bring the American culture and connect cultures together is beautiful. So we have the privilege of having Duncan Cena here to show us a little bit of that style. So please, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you.
Ay, So what you just saw is structured improvisation, meaning I know exactly what the calls and responses are in the music, of course, which takes many years to understand. And it's basically a whole song of poetry and a very there's specific emotions of each style of flamenco dance. But there's a style of flamenco dance that is in 4/4, which we all can get right away. And I want you guys to come on stage. Yeah? So it starts with the compás. We say compás, not compass. Compás is the rhythm, no? And you guys are going to get it right away, right? We're going to do a little bit of improv. And then what I'm going to do is, once you guys we'll go back to palmas. I'll teach you a little bit of movement. We'll go back to palmas, and I'm going to improvise for you. So you can see how I can improvise to this rhythm. Now this rhythm is universal, it's 4/4 or 2/4. And then I'm going to have them, Andrea and Karen, improvise to me doing palmas. So you can get an idea of how this back and forth. And the reason why I want to do this is because flamenco has, we'll have the Q&A, you can ask me more questions, but obviously what interests an artist, I think if you're a true artist, you don't see borders, you don't see colors, you only see possibilities. And music and rhythm and movement unite us across the globe and across the universe. So, let's start with the palmas that you can follow along, right? When you basically, you're gonna just, once you start feeling it, we're gonna use the foot, tapping with one foot, and then the palmas. It's really easy, okay? So I'm gonna start. Same. Open the door.
say who you direct the question to. Oh, we already have one right here.
Do you speak Castilian Spanish?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
Catalan.
Good first question.
Second question, where's your shoes?
Actually, these shoes is really funny because I love this brand. It's called L'Artiste. It's French. And I have a friend who no longer wears heels, and she gives me all these shoes. So that's how I got them.
That's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
You want that friend?
Yes. Yeah, we want that friend.
Come on, you guys, don't be shy.
Please don't be shy because it's important to have feedback because it's been wonderful films and behavior.
I have a question.
Nothing.
No. So, what does it feel like when you're dancing? Like, what goes through your body as you're making your moves, and what expression and emotions do you feel as you're like dealing with sharing your dance with the audience?
It's kind of funny because some of the time when I am performing, I'm not in my body. I don't know how to explain it, but I tend to think about other things. So if I'm on stage and I'm performing, I start thinking about, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow? Did I do that? It's a trip, and I was like, wait, you're performing, you gotta come back. So I have to kind of shake myself. I have like this out of body kind of feeling or experience. But most of the time it's just with my facials. I've been to a lot of dance shows that their faces are just blank, especially like some ballet stuff. They're just like, you know? So I try to give facial expressions so you can understand my story without me having to give a narrative for it.
Yes.
So some of it is really just, if it's a happy dance, let me try to be happy. If it's sad, let me, be sad. I'm still being that actor or just showing everything that I have as an artist in my dancing when I'm performing. So just really making sure that my emotions are there so then you can leave with you can feel the same emotion that I'm giving on stage. Instead of having to come, what was that about? What were you dancing about? I want you to be able to feel it as soon as you see it. Like, oh, whoa, she went through some stuff. I felt that, but now we went through it together and we can move on. So that's where I've been, and just when I create, and I tell my students that I work at Skyline High School, and I tell them, what are you dancing about? What is your emotion? What are you going through? Have you been through this so you can relate to what I'm trying to give to you? Have you ever been in love? I know somebody has probably passed away in your family. How did that make you feel? So bring that here, because sometimes you can't always verbally say it or write it down. So I'm giving you this outlet of dancing to be able to show that emotion and express that feeling. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what kind of dances did you start with?
I am traditionally West African. I'm trained in traditional West African dance. I have to give honor to freestyle. I'm a freestyle hip hop head. I'm 43, so I was really in the deep of hip hop. So, and I'm from Oakland, so a lot of the Bay Area town artists, in that area came from here. So then I dabbled a little bit in modern jazz and ballet, but my body just didn't accept it. So I just continued to stay with free and traditional West African, and I also studied Congolese, where B is from, the Congo. So just really staying in that area of African dance genre, and that's kind of more true to my heart. And so by Healing Movement, we come from the African Center first, and then we branch out. And I have to stay true to my tradition, and that's traditional West African dance. Yes.
At what age did you come to flamenco, and what was the motivation? How did you decide to study that form of dance?
That's a very good question. I first went to Spain when I was a junior in college,
because, first of all, I'm not Spanish, as you know, but my family is Serbian. Both my parents are Serbian, so my first language was Serbian. I spoke English starting at age 6. So I learned Spanish in school and I became fluent very quickly. And then because of my grades, I was given an opportunity to study my junior year abroad in Madrid. And that's basically where my Spanish, which originally started as just regular Spanish, because most of my professors were from Mexico. When I got to Madrid, I mean, there was after 3 weeks I was speaking with a theta. And if you know, anybody know the reason why Castilian speaks with a theta? Yeah, that's exactly that. The king went a lisp, and they didn't want to make him feel embarrassed. So that's actually, that's the reason why. So I was probably, when I was a junior abroad, my birthday's in December, so I started school late. So I turned 21 in Madrid, and I saw flamenco for the first time. Yeah, it's a great age to turn 21. It's fabulous. In Madrid, I can't even tell you. It was like I can't even tell you. But so I saw some flamenco there, and when I came back to the United States, in my university on the sort of the Radscale, or the sort of student union, I saw a sign that said flamenco guitarist gives dance classes. And so I thought, I'm going to go do this. So I went, and it was in Madison, Wisconsin. It was in winter time, and it was like in the basement of his house. And all of us thought he was an axe murderer. And so I was like, this man is, and first of all, he called himself Ricardo Montes, and his real name is Jerry Vandenberg. So, okay, there's more to that, but anyways. So but I've been dancing my whole life, like the West African tradition. Well, I don't know if you know anything about Serbian people, but people in Europe, and especially Southern Europe, further south you go, we're pretty far south by Greece, we sing and dance at any kind of event. So like I knew how to sing 4-part harmonies. My dad stood up us in a chair when I was 4 years old to see if we had good pitch, because if we weren't going to have good pitch, it was going to be mortified. So we all sang and we dance. It's a different kind of dance, but we dance. And actually, it turns out the rhythms and the dances, because we come from Persia originally, are very similar to some of the traditions of flamenco. So I was around 22 when I started flamenco. I never turned back.
Did you have a teacher?
I moved when I took this man's class, he realized after 2 minutes that he couldn't teach me anything. So after class, he showed me a DVD of Carmen Amaya, who was one of the most famous gypsy dancers in the 1950s, 1960s. And I was riveted. He was very smart. I said, where can I do that? He said, well, you have to either go to New York or to San Francisco. And because my dad immigrated to San Francisco, I had a soft spot for San Francisco. And it turns out I made the right decision, because he's like, you could start studying with Teresita Osta in New York or Rosa Montoya. And some of you are going like that, you know of her. 10 days after I moved to San Francisco, I told my parents, Teresita Osta died. So I made the right decision to go to San Francisco. And Rosa Montoya took me, I had to thank her, I found her, I waited for her, waited till I had enough money to take dance classes, because dancers are really poor. I had to work like 7 jobs, but I have to do it. And then because I had other kinds of training, she took me under her wing. And so basically it kind of found me. I didn't really know about it. I didn't dream of becoming a flamenco dancer. But all I can tell you is I've never not danced. I don't remember ever not dancing. Ever since I can walk, I've been dancing. To anything.
I have.
Wait, go ahead. Here, and then we'll go to you next.
What did you find particularly challenging about making all of you a film about dance and your dance?
What was challenging about making a film about plus-size dancers and taking on the art of dance was just that. And I'm just going to be blunt. Who wants to see fat people dancing. That's what, but that is what the thought process is. That's the stigma. That's what, and so for me to step out of that box and to say, I don't give a F, I'm gonna do it anyway, it was extremely scary for me, but something inside of me told me, you need to do this. And this is actually my third time showing the film. I just had the nerve to submit it to a couple of film festivals. I'm just thankful. So I think it's something that needs to be said. I think it's something that needs to be talked about. I think it needs to be addressed. And we do not talk about it enough. We don't give room for people to be themselves. I don't care whether we're talking about race, if we're talking about gender, if we're talking about size, we just don't allow people to be themselves, and I think that that's ridiculous. And I needed to start saying, I have to be me. I cannot try to fit into society's stigma. I need to just be happy with me. And that's what that film is saying. So, yes.
This is a question that's for everyone, right? Yeah.
So the question again was,
What was challenging about making a film about dance, especially the dance you are so good at?
I think the most challenging thing for me, it wasn't really, shooting or making it, because the end result was done without my input. But I think the original ideas is the exchange of ideas with people who, when you're working with somebody who doesn't know your craft, and you've dedicated an entire life and doesn't know the culture necessarily from which you embody, and how to communicate that, how to best and most authentically communicate that with, let's say, the filmmaker.
Yes.
That's the most challenging.
I feel like for myself, just being accepted. So that was the challenging part about it, just to give a vulnerable side of me, and I always have my resting bee face on, So it's just, that was the challenging part of letting people see a different side of it. Like, I always dance and people kind of know me and when I'm dancing and outside of it, but to sit and really talk, you kind of always get a little nervous, feel of, am I saying this right, am I using the right grammar, just having to be able to be a public speaker as well as an artist, and having all that tied together. So just having your story or your side or your dance being accepted by other people, but at the same time, like, forget it. I always had that mentality or her in my head saying, just forget it, do whatever. But then it's like, you still want to be accepted and liked, because, that's how you kind of get by. So I think that was a challenging part, just trying to let myself go, be my real self, and just like, okay, it's going to work out. So I'm going to be accepted.
And I think we have one more question over there.
I have actually a comment in the first piece of dance that I choreographed in high school. Nafi was the lead dancer, and I chose her because of the way that she dances. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, and I didn't want anybody else. And it was hard to choreograph because I was like, do you, just do whatever you want to do. Because
What do you mean?
it was very difficult, but it's just the spirit and flow and rhythm of her dance. I saw exactly what you want people to see when they see you dance. So I wanted to let you know that I've seen that from the beginning, and that I appreciate and accept and acknowledge you in front of other people. So I tell you all the time that yes. Wonderful.
And I have a question right now.
Great. So, ladies, thank you first for sharing your story. It's amazing. Thank you for trusting us with this story. I think I'm intrigued by stories because I think we're all connected, right? And this is a so I'm going to give you guys some questions. So I feel this is for you. So when you say West African dance, if you could kind of detail it a little bit, and what is that? Because that's very wide, as you know.
It is.
And then now for you as well, I know you kind of have some hip hop in there, kind of bringing it in. And Danica, for you, is on the flamenco side, which I love. My first flamenco was Paco de Lucia. I was dying. It was like, my life changed. So, but I think the question to the three of you guys is how are your styles interconnected? Because I saw it, you know, and how do you pull that, or how are your stories connected dance-wise and culture-wise? Because I think you're channeling the ancestors, right? Because they've done this before, so you're sort of carrying on that path. So, yeah.
West African, the Senegal, Gambia, Mali, then I come down to Liberia,
Cool.
and then I come into the center of the Congo.
Nice.
So the west and then to the center. I had to stop and think about it to make sure. Okay. I think when it's with tradition, we tell a story. We tell a story of our people. And because we tell a story of our people, we tell a story of our ancestors. Because our ancestors is where we come from. And so we have to continue to carry on that story. And tradition is the only way. That's it. And I think that, again, in any ethnicity, you have tradition. And you, I feel, is responsible for carrying on that tradition. And so that's how we are connected. Because flamenco is a traditional dance. I'm pretty sure you know that. And then we talk with our hands, we talk with our body, we talk with our face, we tell a story with our feet. And that is because our soul is telling that story. And we leave and we let our ancestors come in.
Yes.
And we let our ancestors talk for us.
Yes, yes.
And so I think that that's what happens in every traditional dance.
Yeah. That was beautifully put. I mean, yes. And sometimes for dancers or people who move, sometimes it's hard to articulate in words. I know we want words.
Yes.
I'm fascinated by stories. I love reading. I've always loved poetry, different styles, and as these lovely ladies embody. I think, yes, we are representing a tradition. That's true. But for me, since the tradition which I am entrenched in has an extra, well, I think we're all connected, but what fascinates me about flamenco, and the more I started researching the roots of the music, the cultural roots, I realized that everyone in this room is connected to flamenco. And anytime I go and give a talk, everybody is. Because on the Iberian Peninsula, something very curious happened that didn't happen in necessarily other places. So because it's a peninsula, because it's a port that went from the Mediterranean out, you had to either stop and be quarantined in Ceuta, or Cadiz, or Gibraltar, or North Africa, before you could go into the rest of the waters.
Right.
So when I started delving into it, and I lived in Spain for 10 years, and I supported myself when I was dancing, teaching English. And I taught these, gerentes, these generals of the Telefonica, which was like AT&T, they wanted to always talk. And I remember one day talking, because I come from the United States of America, and my parents are immigrants. I'm first generation North American. So I think that, already that comes with other stuff. Most people didn't know who what Serbian were, they slaughtered my name. My dad had all kinds of situations, and of course I'm light skinned. People like, So I grew up in a university town, and my parents both worked for the university, and we always had people of all nations in our house. So I grew up with inclusivity, at the same time embodying a very strong tradition, where you dance and you sing while you're eating at a party. It's very loud. No one tells you to be quiet. No one tells you you're too loud. No one tells you you're too big, you're too small, you're too tall, you're nothing. Right? So, but when I started flamenco, I found out, okay, the Celts were there before the Phoenicians. The Celts, the Iberians were there first, then the Celts. Then there were the Phoenicians and Romans who came way after.
Yeah.
The Gypsies came, flamenco was already in Spain. People were like, oh, the Gypsies made flamenco. No, they didn't. Flamenco was already there. They took it, embodied it, and made it their own. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But then there's North Africans, Egyptians,
Yes.
Indians from India,
Yeah.
Sephardic Jews. Okay? All of those traditions, and Chinese, because the Chinese brought silk. They brought the mantones de Manila, the fans, the shawls. All that came from China, from Asia. It's all in flamenco. And by the way, the largest exporter of flamenco in the world is Japan. There are more flamenco schools and artists in Japan today than there are in Spain itself. They pay the most money. They were the first country to pay artists a decent wage. And I benefited from that. I did my audition Monday. They took me. I looked at the audition board every day. I was like, they're not going to take me. I'm not Spanish. And I was like, I kept dreaming. I'm even dreaming. I want to do this. And I did it. So I think that that's what it is. You know, and as far as when she talks about, we're telling a story, I'm sure in your music, in the styles of music and what they're singing, it's poetry.
Yes.
So if it's sad, you're embodying a sadness. If it's happy, you're embodying happy. If it's joking around, if it's sensuality, if it's conquering, coquettishness, you're doing that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Y'all making it hard to talk,
You have the right to pass.
Well, I would say for me with doing the different styles and learning, like I've done tap, hip hop, Haitian, West African, ballet, everything, it all kind of comes back to coming to Africa, coming, you know, your essential. So even new dances now, I'm like, I can go and find an African step that's the same thing. You know, I like to do that and connect it. I know my old dance teacher, Latanya Tigner, she does that a lot. Like one person would do hip hop and she'll come and do the African style. And me and my mom has even done that with house and doing just jazz step or doing this. It always comes back to being central and being into you. And I was just saying to my mom, I said, oh, well, flamenco's kind of like tap dancing, you know what I mean? Or doing some house. So like it all is intertwined some type of way. And I think just, I always tell people, do other styles, learn other styles of dance. Don't just be so ballet, so African, and so this. Be able to be fluent into everything, so you can be like, okay, well that's not really for me, or this is for me. But at least you try it and experience it, so then you can understand how it's connected. So, yeah.
I think we're just gonna do 2 more questions.
Yes, so do you want the one behind you?
Just a question for all of you. When addressing youth that want to get into dancing or want to get into art, what would you go ahead and start them as the most important element? The emotion or experience of dance, or a level of structure that is in a way required to be dancing?
Well, because I'm with them 24/7 of the day. I'm always with young people. I love kids. I dance and I also teach swim lessons, so it's like both. I'm around them all the time. But for me, I do both. Dance is a discipline. Art, you know, martial arts is a discipline. Drawing anything kind of art is a discipline. So you have to know the structure as well as the emotion. So if it's the first thing of, okay, let's start our ground rules while we're in a class setting. How are we gonna agree to these rules that we're making up? So boom, that's the first thing. Then even teaching, going over an 8 count, giving them the knowledge of what dancing is or what drawing is or what singing is. It's just giving that structure and giving that format or that handout that they can come back to. And then if we're going over that, I'll say, okay, well, let's think about, okay, we're having a birthday party. How are you going to act in the birthday party? You know, bringing in that emotion. Or if this happened and they can't really necessarily talk to me about it, What moves come to mind when you hear sad? What moves do you hear when you hear joy? You know, I've been in dance classes where she will give us 4 or 5 different words and we have to come up with a phrase using those words. So right there, that's connecting it and showing that emotion that we have to show. So yeah.
When I'm teaching kids, I try to let them drop into themselves. So, safe space, making them feel safe, making them feel like they're okay, making them feel that they're open and they're welcome and that they can express. Because once you start to feel like, oh, I can trust you and I can relax and I can let go, then I feel like they are willing to be themselves. And so first trying to allow people to connect with their inner spirit. And then once you can find that happy place inside, then we kind of get down to business of, okay, this is the fundamentals. We have to get the foundation together. The foundation basically is, what is the history? What is the history? What is the history of the dance? What did this come from? And then we go into, yes, your timing. Where's your 1? Where's your 2? Where's your 3? Where's your 4? Where's your 1? Where's your 2? Where's your? We can do this, and we got it. Boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom. So I start to have them start singing, putting rhythm with their mouth. Because if you can go boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, boom, boom, got, your body's already going, hey. Yeah. So you already got that in your body. So now they're like, oh, I did that? Yes, she did. So trying to get them to start thinking that they have it inside themselves. And once I can get them to know that they have it inside themselves, it's going to make them know that they can do it. And so that's how I teach.
For me, flamenco is very complicated. It requires special shoes. So I don't only teach flamenco. When I teach kids, I've taught everything from creative movement. So I agree with what she's saying is, I like to make them, first of all, kind of help them ground themselves, because they come with all this different energy. And every day is different, so you really, with kids, you have to gauge what kind of group you have. Are they in a good mood, are they in a bad mood? Are you going to be able to, in any way, change that? Or is it going to stay that way? If it's going to stay that way, sometimes I'll do games. I'll do movement games, rhythmic games. I kind of, with kids, try to expose them with a lot of different things that makes them feel like they're playing. Then once they've got that, then like you said, you add a rhythm. You have them play with that rhythm without them knowing that they're doing the actual rhythm that they have to do. But with flamenco, my experience has been, if I were in Spain, there would be more tolerance with the kids because it's their culture. Here, it's really hard. I have a very small niche. My classes don't have 20, 15 people. They don't. And it's hard. It's hard to keep even adults. You have to really, because it requires discipline. And I also let them know that it's beautiful to have the discipline and that you start having fun once you've got the basics down. And I have students that I get a certain kind of, clientele that they say that. I had a student come in this week, an adult student, she said, I got it. I had so much fun in class. I said, see, you had one fun after 1 year. Because now you can move your hips without looking like, Mr. Roboto. Just say it.
We have one more question.
I think my question has changed, but
It's okay.
I guess it was Afia, you were telling the story about talking in the Ailey masterclass and bringing this question, I guess, to the people who were from Ailey.
Yeah.
Okay, and I don't know, that seemed like a really interesting moment I'd like to hear more about, but I guess then I also kind of just wanted to, it sounds like you're teaching from a really different place than a lot of the students who might have been training from a very young age to go and train with Ailey and try to professional. I mean, there's like a professionalizing track and I don't know. I'm wondering about the money, like teaching for like the spirit and then the pressure of the money. I don't know. That's a really open-ended question, but
Let me make sure I understand.
yeah.
So, are you asking me, do I teach just for the spirit, or do I teach to make it a profession?
Sorry. Yeah,
Okay.
that's not what I meant to ask. I guess I was kind of interested in like what was it like, or like what can happen in, I don't know, what I was interested first in like what happened when you talked into that space, like the Ailey space, and like so what came out of that? Like, I mean, you talked
So
about-
they actually, nothing came out of that. Nothing came out of it. I was serious when I said it was crickets. I got silence. Dancing for plus size dancers is not a thing. It's not a thing. Not professional, not on the level that you're talking about. No. But it's still, it's no. That's just straight, it's no. You have to be a 0, if not negative. You're made, they made me not as hard now, but it's no. And so no one, someone, like I said, I think it was it Ronald? I think it was Ronald K. Brown that finally said, you need to create your own. Because if you're looking to come into this industry, it's not gonna happen. And that was the answer. And it was sad. And so I think I was just saying that I think Janet Jackson has one plus size dancer. Yeah. And I don't even know if the dancer is still dancing with her. Yes. But at least one.
Beyonce too.
Beyonce is going to have. So it's slowly opening. It's slowly opening. Yeah, I don't know. You know, and then you have, and I was explaining this earlier, Target commercials, you're seeing bigger people. You're seeing, you're starting to see that. It's happening slowly.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on, I think in my novice thought, is I think fashion was perhaps the most stringent of like you have to be anorexic, like walking, vomiting in the back. But we're seeing a change in that trend, right? Because of persistence, because of people that spoke loudly, because of people that created, like Naki saying, your own space. So when Haley says no, then what are you, like in your space? And is there a movement around the country that's perhaps saying that we do have same quality of dancers that can actually dance on an elderly stage?
If not better.
If not better.
If not better.
Yeah, so I think the question is really important. What does that conversation look like?
It's these documentaries. It's asking them and putting them on the spot like I did. It's saying, I'm knocking that door down and you're gonna have to accept me. It's time. There's also queer people on the mainstream, commercials now. I'm happy to see that. So it's coming. Change is coming. Change is here. It's here. And so I just want to say thank you for that. I think that it is, money is going to be everywhere. There's not a shortage of money. There's no shortage of money. So I think that if you want to do it, there's
people out there that's gonna pay for it. And that's just it. You have to know that I'm this is my worth, this is what I'm worth this, and if you want it, you're gonna pay. But I think if we not put money first, then it's gonna come. But if we put money first, then it's gonna be a shortage. Let's not put the money first, let's put the issue first.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bahia Movement has merchandise for sale. Check it out. Please support. NAFI actually has a series of movement classes going to be coming. It's an Afro fusion class that we are doing, that she's doing. I'm not doing it. She's doing it at Shaw Anderson, July 16th.
9th, 16th, and the 23rd.
Yes, and if you want to be a part of our email list, please come see me. We will be sending that information out. We're always having shows, and I have cards, and thank you, Beep. I love you. I think you're just amazing. Thank you.
Alright guys, thank you so much. If you guys would like to make a donation just for like Mbongui Film Festival and follow along with these amazing women with what they're doing. They also have little cards on the table on the back hand side. Andrea's out there for donations as well. She has a credit card, reader, all that kind of stuff if you guys would like to participate. Thank you so much, you guys.
Dance is life, dance is love, dance is unity.
Hello. Okay, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you. Grab your last bites. Grab your last bite on the way out. Please mark your calendar. Mbongui Square Festival, the big festival will be December. The week of the 15th, 20th. Andrea can take your email address so you stay in touch with us. We're gonna have lectures here. I believe we're gonna have another dance on film in September. So stay in touch, please. Thank you. Have a blessed weekend.
Oh, I thought you left.
No, I didn't like that.
Oh. Wait.
Good to see you too. This is my coworker.
Yeah, you told me. Yeah, known her for a long time. She's still a kid to me. I mean, you know, they might not say she's not a kid, but you know, she still is.
She's more down. I feel like your daddy. Your daddy, you always have.
He low-key like my daddy.
I'll maybe consider it when she hits like 25. And I'm like, all right, you know, you getting there. You're growing up.
Even then, he ain't gonna think I'm grown.
No, I won't do that. 26, I definitely won't.
Okay. Good production, Viv. You directed it?
Yeah, you know, I'm here all the time. So, since I was going to talk to you for the big festival is in December.
Okay.
If you're interested, you know, to be to perform in it.
Would you like musicians? Like, would you like to perform with like a live band?
Yeah, we do music, dance, spoken word, everything. Basically everything. So let's talk more.
I'll be down because I could hire my friends and that would be fun.
Okay. Cool.
No, I'm right in front of him.
Enjoy, yeah. But God made the food, so I only mix it. I'll pay. I will pay.
I think you have.
The 5% pay.